All right, everybody, welcome back. As you can see here, we are actually cutting our first clutch in quite a while. I think it's close to 2 months. We had a big delay there between clutches. I think this is clutch 15 out of I think what I'm supposed to end up having 16 total. So this is hopefully some nice clown pied stuff. I did want to start the video by saying our 50% off sale is still ongoing. And so is the buy two, get one 75% off sale. So basically, you buy two snakes at 50% off, and you get a third snake at 75% off. So basically, if you want three of my $600 snakes, instead of them being $1,800, they would be $1,500 for all three, including free shipping. So take advantage of that while you can. I think next week might be one of the last, if not the only week left to ship for the rest of the year. So this clutch is, I'm trying to think. I don't know if this is his first clutch or not. I think it might be. I bought a Wolverine, who's my Super OD Yellow Belly Fire Clown Pied, from Reptiles for Centuries about a year and a half ago. It was like my first ever import, especially because it was from the other side of the world. And I believe this might be his first clutch, actually. And he's been bred to a pastel leopard clown het pied she produced for me last year as well. And I believe she's actually currently for sale too. But she's also possibly super leopard. And this clutch for me, there's really no point in me shed testing that. But I think this clutch for me is going to help prove that a little better, because the last time I bred her, it was a, what did I breed her to? A pastel leopard OD yellow belly pied het clown. So I didn't get a ton of. I did get some visuals, but nothing that told me, hey, this is definitely, super leopard. And this is what I'm trying to prove out here is, is she super leopard or not? Which would be a cool thing for somebody. That's definitely a nice thing to have, especially in a visual clown. Having a super leopard would be pretty advantageous. So let's see, what sort of luck we get here. Half these babies should be clown pieds. That would be fantastic if they were, because that makes selling a little easier when they're double visuals. At the very worst, if they're both supers, then I should have OD, leopard, clown, het pieds. That should be the very worst snake that I could make. The snake is completely upside down. It is super white, which is very strange. I'm assuming that is gonna mean that it's probably a pied of some sort, but that's not really what I was expecting out of this clutch. That's a weird snake. I don't know if that's it might be a clown, it might be like a firefly. That's super weird looking though. I can't tell if that's a pied or not. If you can see that in there. That is not what I was expecting out of this clutch. That's very weird. It's very weird. That is the whitest clown that I've ever hatched out of an egg. So that is not at all what I was expecting to see out of this first egg. I was expecting some very orangey pieds or some very like reduced pattern clowns. I was not expecting a white snake with black dots all over it. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like when it comes out of the egg. That's very weird. You get surprised every day. You never know what you're going to get when you're hatching, when you're mixing up, a bunch of different genes, which is why, again, I always tell people that I endorse, buying and breeding powerhouse males, because, a super OD yellow belly fire clown pied male is really useful to pair up to anything. There's really not a whole lot you're going to breed him to that's not going to produce snakes for you that aren't really cool. Having a double visual male is very, 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 very useful. Oh man, it's the same thing in this one. This one looks like it might be kinked, but I don't know. This is the same exact thing. That's very weird. They're all that white. If you can see that in there, that's super strange. Not what I was expecting out of these. Now, maybe the colors just didn't fully pop in yet. I don't know. I mean, they're ready to be cut. It's not like I'm cutting them like super early or anything. So it's very strange that they're all super white like that. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully we get some that look a little more normal in here. Let's try this one here. Let's see if we get a little better odds in terms of what we're hoping for here. It's a bit easier if I just squeeze the goo out over top of the garbage can rather than on the paper towels. I squeeze out some of this albumin because it makes less of a mess. Typically, the less albumin there is stuck in the egg box, the better. Unless there is the kind of weird and rotty. I think all these eggs are good. This female's good. She laid like I believe a 5-egg clutch last year, if I remember correctly. And this is 7, and all 7 eggs look good. They're all big too. So I'm hoping these are all just like big hatchlings. The combination of having big eggs and big hatchlings is never a bad thing. Usually they, in my experience, do a better job kind of catching on the food. Same thing here. This one's sort of upside down, so it's kind of harder to see. But all these snakes are, this one's definitely a clown. This one you can see a little better. You can see the pattern there a little better on that one. So that's definitely not a pied, if you can see that there. Be a pretty snake, but that one's definitely not a pied compared to the other two. I don't know. I mean, they very well could be pieds, just super high white, because those are weird ones for me. I'm very curious to see what those look like. Kind of just looks like the coloration didn't fully come in yet, so we're just, that can happen when you have some brighter snakes. Just emptying these eggs out. Hopefully just get some better odds with some clown pieds here. Well, clown pieds, for some reason, they've always kind of escaped my grasp. I don't know why. My odds, I've always had, I mean, this clutch should be 50%. I've always had some higher end odds, at least usually 50%, at hitting them, but overall my actual hit rate with clown pies has been very low, which makes it hard when you're trying to produce yourself some nice holdbacks for the future projects. This snake is very pretty, but unfortunately is not a pied, and this, I actually don't even think it has eyes. That sucks. So that snake, it's a pretty looking pied, or clown, probably an orange dream leopard, I would guess. There's no eyes on that snake, which is never a good thing. I can see there's like a big bump right in the middle of the forehead, if you can see that, right where that little white spot is. There's like a little bump. So that's, never like to see that. Never like to see deformities in your eggs you're cutting. It makes it hard to, hopefully they survive and there's no other problems. I actually had one of my lightning pied clowns who was born without eyes, but she had nothing else wrong with her. She's actually thriving. She's eating like a champ. She's grown big. I haven't had any issues with her, but sometimes it just makes it, if somebody sees a snake without eyes and they don't, they don't want to, whether you choose to breed them, I think is up to you. If there's nothing else physically wrong with a snake, from what I've seen and read and talked to people, it doesn't necessarily mean that the snake is not going to is going to produce offspring that don't have eyes. Sometimes just not having eyes is a weird kind of genetic thing. When you're producing hundreds of babies every single year, not that I'm doing that, but when you're producing, you're eventually going to run into abnormalities, and that's why sometimes you get kinking. That's why sometimes you get no eyes. So most of the time the snakes, the babies are healthy, and some of the time they're not. So let's see. This one looks like a clown pied. It's a very pretty head. I don't know if you're gonna see it in there. Let me see. Oh, I don't know if you can see the tip of the nose there. If you can see that, hopefully, nope, probably not. Right there's the tip of the nose. I don't know if that shows up there or not. That's definitely a clown pied though. Very high white. Probably because a lot of these are fire. Fire's in the mix. Fire makes high white clown pieds. Pieds in general, unfortunately. So we're probably going to be. Now, technically, fire should only be in half the babies. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. But the ones that do have fire, I don't know if I've ever seen a fire pied that isn't pretty high white. So I don't think. Fire looks very nice in clowns, but it produces basically pieds that are just so. It's kind of like what cinnamon does. Just makes them very high white. It's not a great thing in pied. Spot nose makes very high white. I think basically anything in like the cinnamon, black pastel complex, the 8-ball complex, that makes high whites, which aren't necessarily great. But fire definitely makes high whites. Bamboo pies basically make all white snakes. Well, this one's super white too, and I can. Oh, come here! I can see it. I'm assuming this has to be pied. It's a white snake. I can see it faint yellow coloration on the head there a little bit. You can see the black clown markings on the eyes. Hopefully that shows up there in camera. So I'm assuming this is a pied because there's way too much white on it. I don't see any other pattern anywhere else. So from what I can tell, I've definitely hit 2 pieds. These ones that are like super white, I have no idea what they are going to be until they actually come out, because that's never seen it before. This one's not pied. This isn't pied, and also doesn't have eyes. So I have 2 for sure, it looks like, pieds out of here. Now in terms of availability, I will probably not be keeping any of the stuff that is not visual, double visual, I should say. Probably would not be keeping any male clown pieds either. If there's a female clown pied that is, genetically diverse enough for me to warrant keeping, then I'll keep it. But if it's just a OD clown pied, I don't know if I would. I don't know if it's worth me holding on to for 2 years, 3 years to grow up. So we'll see. But I would say most, if not all, the males would be available, and only the super high end, nice clown pied females I would keep. Everything else would probably be available, I would assume. So let's get number 7 here. Hopefully we get another strike and another pied. Not pied, but it's a really pretty snake. This might be like a. It's very pretty. It's very, very bright. This might be like a OD leopard firefly. The only other gene in there would be yellow belly, and it could be that too. That's a very pretty snake. That's probably the prettiest snake out of the whole clutch from what I just by coloration alone. So I'm excited about that one just to see what it looks like. I probably won't keep it, but it's probably the most pretty snake in there. I really wish I could see what was going on these other ones. I'm assuming they're probably, I think there's probably too much pattern on that one to be pied. This one's very white, so I'm assuming that probably is a pied. So I think I probably hit 3 pieds out of 7. So again, under 50% odds. That's my luck with hitting pieds or clown pieds. I do, however, have one more clutch in the incubator for the end of this season, and it is another clown pied clutch, and it's the same male bred to a pastel clown het pied. So hopefully I get good odds at hitting some clown pieds in that one. Get this off of here. Alrighty. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what they look like when they come out. At least I made some really nice looking snakes, which is again why I say, use a powerhouse male. He's going to give you the best odds of producing nicer snakes. And it looks like that's what happened in this, even though I didn't hit great odds on pieds. All of the clowns that I produced look really neat, and they're going to be powerful because, when you have leopard and orange dream and yellow belly, and you're making clown het pieds with those genes plus pastel and fire. Not that anybody loves pastel and clown, but fire, let's say for instance, it makes some really pretty animals with a lot of very nice genes that are very useful, whether you're using them in pied or clown or DG or whatever. So use your powerhouse males, pick up your powerhouse males, and really you can breed them to anything in your collection. So we'll wait a couple days here. These should be out of the eggs within a day or 2 or 3. And don't forget about the sale while it's still ongoing. Customers are, trickling in here. Fantastic deals on a lot of the snakes, and most of them are adult females. So we'll give you updates on these guys as they come out of their eggs.